It's like, ever feel like you're on one of those roller coasters, but, blindfolded?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the crypto market feels like these days. Bitcoin was just teasing that $100,000 mark again.
Oh, yeah.
And then, nosedive, taking a bunch of other cryptos down with it.
Of course.
So today we're going to unpack this wild ride.
Absolutely.
Trying to figure out, who made it out, who crashed and burned, and what it all means for the future of crypto.
Right. And I think what's really fascinating to me is how all this volatility, just shows how everything's connected in the crypto world.
Yeah.
One big player, like Bitcoin, has a little wobble, and the whole market's like catching a cold.
Totally. Okay, so Bitcoin, right. It hit that new all-time high, over $103,000.
Wow.
Which is, think about it, $30,000 higher than just a month ago.
Crazy.
Talk about FOMO.
Yeah.
But then, boom, just as fast, back down below $97,000.
Right.
I'm getting whiplash just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of that whole risk and reward thing.
Yep.
That's at the heart of crypto. These huge swings, they make it exciting, but also, man, they can be dangerous for people who are investing.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of unpredictable, we got to talk meme coins. Dogecoin, the OG meme coin, hit a 3-year high over the weekend, $2.48.
Oh.
Sitting at 0.428 cents now. Still up for the week, though. What's the deal there? Is it just that whole greater fool thing happening?
It is interesting how Dogecoin, people kind of dismissed it as a joke for a while, but it just keeps bouncing back. Makes you think, what's really giving it value? Is it just hype, social media stuff, or is there something more to these meme coins?
Yeah, maybe they're tapping into something different about how people think about investing.
Yeah.
Right. But, okay, meme coins aside for a sec, what about the other big players? XRP was on fire last week, 7-year high. It's down a bit now, but still up a crazy 333% for the month. What's driving that kind of growth?
Yeah, XRP is a great example of how these individual coins can have these huge swings that aren't even always tied to what Bitcoin's doing.
Right.
It reminds us that each cryptocurrency has its own unique story, driven by its tech, partnerships, even legal stuff in XRP's case.
Oh, totally. And then there's Solana, which dipped along with Bitcoin, but it's holding up better than some others. We've also seen some pretty big drops from Avalanche, Chainlink, and Polkadot. It's kind of all over the place out there.
It really is a roller coaster. And for anyone even thinking about getting into crypto, it just shows you how important research is.
Yeah.
You can't just follow the hype. You got to understand the tech, the team behind it, and just the overall vibe in the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of the vibe, you know what else really contributes to this wild ride we're talking about? Liquidations.
Yeah, liquidations. It's like that domino effect,
Yeah.
People borrow money to buy crypto hoping it goes up, and then the price drops. And suddenly they have to sell everything just to cover their loans.
Oh, man.
And that selling pushes the price down even further, which triggers more liquidations and on and on and on. Messy.
Yeah, big time. And we're not talking small change here. Over the past 24 hours, $620 million in liquidations.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
It just shows how that leveraged trading can really magnify both the good and the bad in the crypto market.
Sure.
And not surprisingly, Bitcoin, the most traded cryptocurrency, is leading the way with $86 million in liquidations.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty intense picture of the crypto market so far. Volatile, unpredictable, definitely not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
But there's another side to all this, right?
Right, absolutely. The risks are real, no doubt, but so is the potential. The technology behind crypto is still developing and its uses are growing so fast.
Right.
That's a big part of why people are still drawn to it, even with all the ups and downs.
Totally. Blockchain, which most cryptocurrencies are big on, it's finding its way into so many different industries now, from finance and managing supply chains to healthcare, even art.
It's true.
It's growing adoption. It makes you think maybe crypto's not just a fad,
Exactly. It's bigger than just individual coins or what the price is doing today. It's about a whole new way of thinking about value, ownership, and the future of money.
So where do we go from here? How do we make sense of all this?
Well, the big thing is knowledge is power. The more you understand about crypto, the better you'll be able to navigate it.
Yeah.
Do your research, figuring how much risk you're comfortable with, and make decisions that make sense for you.
And hey, that's what we're here for, right? The deep dive is all about breaking down these complicated topics and giving you the info you need to stay ahead of the game. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's zoom in on some specific numbers that really show just how wild this roller coaster is.
If you look at the current prices, Bitcoin's hanging out around $96,403, down about 3% for the day. Ethereum, number 2 in the crypto world based on how much is actually out there. It's taken a bigger hit, almost 7% down to $3,663.
Oof, yeah, someone's feeling that for sure.
Yeah.
Is there a reason, do you think, why Ethereum seems to react more to these market swings than Bitcoin?
Yeah, probably a couple things going on there. First, Ethereum, it's the platform for a ton of those decentralized applications, those dApps everyone's talking about.
Right.
And it's super connected to the whole decentralized finance scene, DeFi, right?
Yeah.
And DeFi is basically trying to rebuild those traditional financial systems like lending and borrowing and stuff. But without the banks, the middlemen.
So all that DeFi action happening on Ethereum, you're saying that makes its price kind of jumpier.
Exactly. And then second, Ethereum's still going through these big upgrades, changes. Like, remember, they're moving to that proof of stake system.
Yeah.
And any little hiccup there, any delay, people get spooked. Investors, leads to more of that volatility.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, how about XRP? It's been doing really well, even with this recent dip. It's still around $2.12.
It is.
And Solana, like we were saying, holding up pretty well at $214.
Yeah, those are some definite bright spots, right? In a sea of red. And if we look past those top coins, we see some other interesting stuff happening. Avalanche, down about 15%. Chainlink's over 20% down. And Polkadot dipped almost 18%.
So, a lot of red, but hey, buy low, sell high, right? Just kidding. Not giving any financial advice here. But speaking of buying low, anything actually up today?
Well, there's always those exceptions, right?
Right.
Like take Selvuvi, up a crazy 78% today.
Whoa, 78%. What's fueling that?
Most likely it's tied to something specific happening with the movie project, some news or announcement. Really shows you why staying up to date on what's going on in the crypto world is so important.
Yeah.
One tweet, one press release, it can send a coin's price through the roof or, the other way around.
Yeah, it's like crypto whack-a-mole, man.
Totally.
I can see how people get hooked.
Oh, for sure. And there's another one, SOS, up over 12% today. But gotta remember, those are just individual cases. Doesn't mean the whole market's suddenly going up.
Right. Got to keep the big picture in mind. So we've talked a lot of numbers, percentages. What's the main thing you want people listening to understand about this crypto roller coaster?
I think the main thing is the crypto market's this complex, constantly changing world. So many things affecting it, technology, regulations, what's happening around the world, even stuff trending on social media. It's always evolving. That's what makes it so exciting, but also so hard to figure out.
So how do we navigate this craziness? Easy to get caught up in all the hype or the fear, right? Especially when you see those prices swinging like crazy.
You're right. You got to approach crypto with a cool head. Think long term. Remember, diversify. You wouldn't put all your money in one stock. Same goes for crypto. Spread your investments around. That helps with the risk.
Great advice. So research, diversify, and be patient. But let's be real. It's still kind of a gamble, right?
I mean, there's definitely risk. No way around it. But, that's part of the appeal for some folks. High stakes, potentially big rewards if you do your homework and play it smart.
Like the Wild West of finance, huh?
Exactly. And don't forget, we're still in the early days of this whole crypto thing. The technology is still being developed. People are still figuring out the rules. The possibilities seem endless.
It's definitely a fascinating time to be watching all this happen, but also a time to be careful, make smart decisions. Speaking of which, we've talked a lot about the risks and the ups and downs, but what about the good stuff, the potential?
Right. I mean, we've seen how crypto can make people a lot of money, especially those who got in early or knew what they were doing. But it's bigger than just money. There's also this idea of a more decentralized and fair financial system.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. What do you think is the most exciting thing about crypto in the long run? For me, it's that potential to, level the playing field, give people more control over their own money, especially those who haven't had access to traditional banking and stuff.
Oh, for sure. It's about empowering people, making a financial system that works for everyone, no matter where you're from or your background. Like, imagine you don't need a Gog account to send money. You can access financial services without those crazy fees.
Right.
Your transactions are secure, transparent. That's the vision, right?
Sounds kind of utopian almost. But let's be real. There are some big challenges too, right?
Yeah.
We talked about regulations a bit. What about the environmental impact? All that crypto mining.
Yeah, you're right. The energy use for some cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, it's a real concern. The good news is people are working on ways to make it more sustainable.
Okay.
Like those proof of stake systems, they use way less energy. And as we get more renewable energy sources, that'll help too.
That's good to hear. Sounds like there's a lot of innovation happening. People are trying to solve these problems.
Right.
But I still have this question, like, is crypto really the future of finance, or is this whole thing just going to, I don't know, burst?
Aha, the million-dollar question, right? Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Honestly, crypto is still so new. It's like the Wild West, tons of potential, but also a lot of risks.
So how do we navigate this thing? Any advice for someone who's curious about crypto, but, not sure about diving in?
I'd say start by learning. Read about the different types of cryptocurrencies, how the tech works, what the risks and potential rewards are.
Yeah.
There's so much info out there, from basic guides to like really in-depth research papers. And don't be afraid to ask questions. People in the crypto community are generally pretty open and helpful, especially to newcomers.
It's like anything new, right? And the more you know, the less scary it is. And hey, you don't have to go all in right away. Start small. Invest what you're comfortable maybe losing and see what happens.
Exactly. Think of it like an experiment. Test the waters. Learn as you go. And really important, don't let fear or like that fear of missing out control your decisions.
Right.
Do your research. Understand your own risk tolerance.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into the crypto roller coaster, I think the big takeaway is crypto's changing things, the whole financial world, but it's not a magic get-rich-quick thing.
Right.
It's complicated, constantly changing. You got to be thoughtful, willing to learn and adapt.
And remember, whether you're like a pro investor or just starting to explore this whole crypto thing, the most important thing you have is knowledge. Stay curious, keep learning, and think critically.
And who knows? Maybe you'll be the one who figures out the next big thing in crypto.
The possibilities are huge.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into the crazy, exciting world of crypto. Hope you found it useful, maybe even a little fun. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.